A few weeks back, we discussed the possible eras and locations that DICE could take the Battlefield franchise to next. Modern day is always a possibility, I think. Vietnam is a place I think could be explored in greater depth, but might not offer enough content for a fully fledged Battlefield title, and the looming presence of other World War II shooters could see DICE follow in their tracks. I never suggested a futuristic setting though. There's a couple of reasons why I didn't mention it, but ultimately, I just don't see DICE taking Battlefield into the future anytime soon. The first reason I see DICE avoiding a futuristic setting for Battlefield 2018 comes from some of their own games that have been produced or have been released in the last couple of years. EA and Respawn jointly worked together on the Titanfall franchise, and that of course is a futuristic shooter franchise, and EA hold the exclusive rights to Star Wars video games as well, with DICE working on Star Wars Battlefront 2 at the moment, and other studios actually working on their own Star Wars games. Titanfall 1 back in 2014 showed that futuristic shooters at the time were appealing to players as it sold fairly well, but then it struggled to really maintain a healthy player base after its launch due to a lack of content to really keep people playing. Titanfall 2 actually suffered an unfortunate end as well, with it being sandwiched between Battlefield 1, which at its launch was hyped beyond belief, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which despite being negatively taken to by the community, actually sold plenty of copies. EA already has well-established futuristic timeframe shooters that have released in the past 3 years. In that sense, I don't think Battlefield needs to go there, as it would overlap with Titanfall and potentially could result in fewer sales for both franchises, which of course isn't good for a business. My Star Wars point, whilst the whole franchise is technically not set around a futuristic shooter location, I would say that it using a storyline, a fantasy theme, blasters, jetpacks, various abilities and things like that, I feel it would stray very close to perhaps what Battlefield could offer in a futuristic setting as well. I mean, the crossing over is already present in both Battlefield and Battlefront now. Battlefront 2 has adopted the Battlefield soldier class system with distinct roles taken on by different troopers. The lines are already blurring, and Battlefield going futuristic might further blur those lines. A company like EA has multiple franchises that appeal to lots of different types of gamers, and bringing those franchises too close to one another would likely lead to lost sales across all franchises that strayed too close, or it could potentially alienate fans that are looking for their fix of a certain franchise. If that franchise changes direction too sharply, then that could be a problem for that gamer and the appeal disappears. Moving away from EA directly, there are of course other avenues that we can look at this situation from. We have a huge example already of what happens when you force your community into a futuristic setting, when you slowly iterate each year and you push the franchise further and further into the boost jumping craze. Of course, I'm talking about Call of Duty. Whilst we should never directly compare games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, as they are inherently different, we can say that they are both massive FPS franchises with huge followings, and so there they do have a connection. The community for COD voiced their opinions loud and clear with Advanced Warfare that many weren't in favour of this futuristic direction, and people wanted boots on the ground action. Unfortunately, Call of Duty is developed across 3 different studios, with each studio taking it in turns to release a game in a 3-year cycle. Once the cycle of futuristic games started, it's not like Activision was gonna stop it. Black Ops 3 followed, which most people actually preferred over Advanced Warfare, even though it had even further futuristic elements in it, and then came Infinite Warfare, which took it even further and pushed the franchise into space. At this point, many people had had enough and didn't purchase the game. A clever, quick move by Activision, however, to commission a remaster of Modern Warfare quelled some of the anger, but players had to buy Infinite Warfare in order to access it, which of course inflated the sale numbers. After all that though, 3 years of futuristic shooters was enough for the Call of Duty community, and they finally got their wish with Call of Duty World War II. Now luckily, Battlefield doesn't follow the same pattern as Call of Duty games, with most titles having a 2-year cycle for content post-launch, and this leaves more room for a team conceptualizing and making the games to change direction and make different decisions if they need to. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't think DICE already knew what their next 3, 4, maybe even 5 Battlefield games already are. I'm sure there is a roadmap stretching out to 2020 and beyond, and in fact, Peter Moore, a former executive at EA, did previously state at an event that he could rattle off all of the EA games that were going to release in the next 5 years or so. So if you needed proof that DICE already have a plan for where Battlefield is going to go, then, well, there it is. Looking at the market and the way it has shifted away from modern day and near future shooters back towards historical ones, it would be an extremely odd move for DICE to then announce that Battlefield 2018 was set in a futuristic time frame. It just doesn't add up for me. The reaction to futuristic Call of Duty games as well, I'm sure, would have sent a clear message to most other development teams at the time that the future is not somewhere that FPS gamers really want to go anymore, and anyone considering releasing a futuristic FPS might have backed off a little bit. That is, of course, unless your franchise is built around the time period, as with Titanfall. Now, I'm still leaning towards World War II as a potential setting for Battlefield 2018, as I think it holds the most logical position out of any of the areas that DICE could choose. DICE has just spent 4 years making Battlefield 1, and all of its assets could be easily recycled into another historical shooter. And of course that saves the studio money, and it delivers a time period that could look absolutely incredible on today's gaming tech. Modern day is a possibility, but with the 3 previous games to Battlefield 1 being set in the present day or the near future, I'm not sure DICE would want to return to that era as quickly as they might do. A World War II game could be incredible on the Frostbite engine, and if the game uses tech anything like as well as it did with Battlefield 1, then, well, we could be onto another game that breaks records. But there you are, that's why I think Battlefield 2018 won't be a futuristic shooter. Thank you very much for watching today. This Battlefield 2018 series is actually really fun for me to make, as it makes me think about different topics, and I want you guys to get more involved. Leave me some topics in the comments that I could discuss in the next video, and I will pick out a popular one for that next episode. And of course, leave your thoughts and opinions about this video down in the comments as well. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.